Vietnam, Russia to raise bilateral trade to $7 billion in 2015. Vietnam and Germany foster investment links. Hello, it is great to see you again on another edition of Bizline here on VTV International. I'm Minh Hằng from Hanoi, and let's now take a look at the highlighted economic news in the past week. As part of an official visit to Russia, party leader Nguyễn Phú Trọng met with President Vladimir Putin to discuss more about the Vietnam-Russia Comprehensive Strategic Partnership. At the talks, the two leaders agreed to raise two-way trade volume to $7 billion by 2015 and $10 billion by 2020. Russia also pledged to speed up free trade agreement or FTA negotiation between Vietnam and the custom unions of Russia, Belarus and Kazakhstan. They expressed their satisfaction with the effective bilateral cooperation in energy, deeming this a key area of strategic importance to both nations. They consented to create favorable conditions for each country's oil and gas businesses to operate on their territory and conduct oil and gas exploration and exploitation on Vietnam's continental shelf in line with international law. The revised law on investment and enterprises were passed by the National Assembly on Wednesday morning. The revised enterprise law requires businesses to stipulate what sectors they will be working in when they register the company. The new investment law also aims to improve the business climate in Vietnam by creating a clear, open, and transparent environment for investors. A list of 51 sectors and areas forbidden from investment and business, or with certain conditions, is one of the most important new points in the revised investment law. The National Assembly also agreed to approve 272 areas specified as conditional investment domains. The General Statistics Office, or GSO, has said that Vietnam will finish 2014 with a trade surplus, largely thanks to the foreign direct investment sector. The trade surplus in the first 11 months of 2014 has reached $2 billion. GSO figures shows that the country's export revenues reached $137.33 billion, or 13.7% year-on-year increase, and 67% came from the FDI sector. The FDI sector's exports increased by 13% year-on-year. The country's import value reached nearly $135 billion, a 12.6% year-on-year increase, with the FDI sector accounting for more than 56.8%. Now, more than 60 Italian enterprises attended the Italy-Vietnam Business Forum held on November 25th here in Hanoi. At the event, Vietnamese and Italian entrepreneurs discussed opportunities in 110 Vietnamese industrial zones. Italian firms expressed their interest in engineering, energy, infrastructures, traffic and textiles, and garments. Italy is now the third largest trading partner of Vietnam in the EU, and the two-way trade turnover reached €3 billion last year. Italy's government recently pledged itself to facilitate Italian small and medium-sized enterprises to invest in Vietnam in the coming time. The forum is expected to help Italian businesses have a better understanding of the Vietnamese market and available preferential investment policies. The Asian Development Bank and the Vietnamese government on Tuesday signed a $50 million loan agreement to upgrade the country's tourism infrastructures, boost tourist spending, and create more jobs for poor and ethnic communities. It aims to boost tourism competitiveness in the provinces of Vietnam, and Tây Ninh, which are situated in the Greater Mekong Sub-region Economic Corridor. The project is expected to lift annual tourism revenues to $480 million by 2019 from $190 million in 2012, and help to create 85,000 additional tourism-related jobs, about 60% of which will go to women. The percentage of online shopping from smartphones accounts for over 35% of the market in Vietnam. The number is significantly higher than tablets, which only accounts for 5%, and is catching up with desktop that stands at 44%. This is a result of cheap smartphones in Vietnam and a good 3G network, and experts predict that more mobile-friendly versions of websites will add to the trend. Those are the highlights from last week's economic scenes. Up next, we will talk more about the investment links between Vietnam and Germany in our crosstalk. After 39 years of diplomatic ties and 3 years since the establishment of a bilateral strategic partnership, Vietnam has become an attractive destination for German investors. According to the Foreign Investment Agency of Vietnam, as of October this year, there are 239 German investment projects here in Vietnam, worth over $1.33 billion. The 2014 Vietnamese Business Environment Survey conducted with German businesses further shows that German companies have high expectations for growth in production, trade, and demands for manpower and reinvestment in Vietnam. In our program today, we will discuss the investment links between Vietnam and Germany in further details with the German ambassador to Vietnam, Jutta Frusch, and more in our crosstalk.
For the first time ever, Vietnam hosted the Asia-Pacific Conference, or APK, the biggest biannual gathering of German enterprises in the Asia-Pacific region. This year's event took place from November the 20th to the 22nd in Ho Chi Minh City and attracted 700 businesses from Germany, Vietnam and Asia. Addressing the conference, Prime Minister Dũng said that Vietnam warmly welcomed German investment in various fields.
Việt Nam chúng tôi đánh giá rất cao vai trò của các công ty Đức đầu tư kinh doanh hiệu quả tại Việt Nam, nhất là trong các ngành như phát triển năng lượng, công nghệ xanh, sạch, công nghệ chế tạo, công nghiệp phụ trợ, giao thông công cộng, tài chính, ngân hàng, hàng tiêu dùng, hàng nông thủy sản và trên các lĩnh vực khác.
In fact, many well-known German enterprises like Siemens, Daimler, B. Braun and Allianz have long been present in Vietnam. Recently, there has also been a shift in German investment to the ASEAN bloc, of which Vietnam is an active member.
From Siemens' perspective, the market opportunities in Vietnam are very good because we see a young population. We see a lot of demand from an increasing income, which was increasing over the last years. So there's a lot of interesting opportunities in all areas.
Speaking at the APK conference, German Vice-Chancellor Sigmar Gabriel said that German investors are very interested in the increasing openness of the business climate in Vietnam and the region.
In Germany, the principle of national treatment applies to all foreign companies. This means that the market is just as open to them as to German companies. By the same token, we would like to see Asian countries also allowing for German investment based on simple, clear rules.
As a leading Vietnamese corporation with a presence in Germany, FPT shares this view.
Họ mong muốn gì? Họ mong muốn một thái độ cởi mở. Họ mong muốn có nguồn nhân lực tốt. Họ mong muốn có chính sách công bằng và ổn định lâu dài. Thế còn về phía Việt Nam ấy, thì lúc này là lúc có thể chào mời các doanh nghiệp Đức, đã đến lúc họ quan tâm thực sự đến Việt Nam.
Thank you very much for joining this interview with VTV International. Now, Vietnam and Germany are determined to foster investment links as evident in the growth of investment flows and various bilateral meetings and conferences. So could you please tell us why more and more German investors are looking to invest in the country?
Yes, we just had a very big multilateral conference here in Vietnam, that was the APK, the Asia Pacific Conference of German Business, which is of course about Asia as such, but it was hosted by Vietnam basically, and of course for Vietnam it was a good opportunity to present itself and to give an overview over the very good conditions that Vietnam might offer to German investors. We also had bilateral dialogue on investment opportunities here in Hanoi before the big conference started. And I think the German investors are looking to Vietnam because, first of all, it is a big market of 90 million people, but also it is member of ASEAN. And if you have completed the ASEAN internal market in 2015, this is a very good location to be for really supplying the whole ASEAN market. And a third thing is that also the political relations between Germany and Vietnam are excellent at the moment. We are in a kind of strategic partnership, and the political dialogue is at the moment very dense, and many meetings, like your Prime Minister Sung coming to Berlin in October, and now our Vice Chancellor and Minister of Economics and Energy, Gabriel, coming here to Vietnam, not only for the conference, but also for a bilateral talk.
Right, so many activities. So far then, which sectors have been at the forefront of German investments here in the country?
Well, we actually do have a big variety. We have not only small and medium-sized companies, we have also a big company like Bosch, they produce a certain part which is necessary for, and this is for the world market, mainly for Japan and Asia, but for the whole world market. We have the health sector with B. Braun here in Hanoi, and Siemens as well. They are also producing health sector things. And we also have construction industry like Knauf. So it is a very varied range, a wide range of companies that have come and invested here according to their needs. And most of them are not only producing, if they produce here, I mean, they are also doing trade from here and so on, but if they are producing here, it is not only for the Vietnamese market, but worldwide.
Right. Sustainable development is a focus of German government and enterprises when they're cooperating here in the country. So could you elaborate more on the projects that German partners have conducted in Vietnam so far in this field of sustainable development?
Well, we are trying, and this is also part of our development cooperation we have with Vietnam, we are trying to support the Vietnamese government in its green growth strategy. And that means we are focusing on protection of the environment, the adaptation to possible climate change, and also we put a lot of emphasis on energy saving, renewable energies and things like that. So this is all which is connected to this term green growth strategy. The objective is to use less natural resources, to save energy, and to make the high growth of the Vietnamese economy more sustainable.
Vietnam's vision is to become an industrialized nation by 2020. Accomplishing that requires tens of billions of dollars in infrastructure and technology. As one of the biggest German corporations in Vietnam, since 1993, Siemens has provided state-of-the-art technology to various public works in the country. In the latest fiscal year, Siemens' sales to customers in Vietnam rose to 241 million euros.
If you talk about energy, for example, we are providing top technology for energy, gas turbines in particular, where we know that Vietnam is a country which has a lot of gas, and this is an area we want to do something. Another one is the whole area of traffic management and metro lines. We are very much interested in participating in your Metro Line 2 which soon will be tendered, and we hope that we can win this project because we can contribute very good technology.
BASF, one of the largest chemical companies in the world, is another long-time investor in Vietnam. In 2013, BASF recorded about 186 million euros in sales to Vietnamese customers, and this figure is set to grow. BASF's core businesses in Vietnam include petrochemicals, engineering plastics, chemicals for electronics, and chemicals for construction.
Vietnam has very good fundamentals. It is developing into a manufacturing hub in Asia Pacific, and for that reason there is a lot of potential for us, ranging from agrochemicals but also into manufacturing industries. We are looking in a very positive way on Vietnam's development, and we want to be part of this development, contribute to Vietnam, and also benefit from this development.
German companies have made significant contributions to manufacturing and high-tech industry in Vietnam. Through the transfer of training and technology, Vietnamese players in these areas are learning the German way of doing business.
Khi chúng ta làm với các đối tác ở Đức thì đừng mong đợi họ sẽ cam kết những số tiền khổng lồ, và chúng ta hãy đợi họ cam kết những vấn đề cụ thể, ví dụ chẳng hạn như vấn đề về đào tạo, vấn đề về chuyển giao công nghệ. Và người Đức là người cẩn thận, chắc chắn, đi rất sâu vào chi tiết. Cho nên nếu mà chúng ta thành công ở những bước đầu tiên, có cái lòng tin và có cơ sở tốt, thì họ cũng sẽ sẵn sàng đầu tư nhiều hơn nữa. Nước Đức là một nước có nền công nghiệp sản xuất máy móc hàng đầu thế giới. Thì người Đức đầu tư họ cũng mong muốn là họ đầu tư toàn diện từ nghiên cứu phát triển đến sản xuất đến xuất khẩu. Thì nhà đầu tư Đức là nhà đầu tư rất đáng tin cậy.
Attracting German investment in key sectors like infrastructure and technology is a priority for Vietnam's industrialization process. Beyond that, long-term cooperation with German partners is seen as a solution to sustainable growth in Vietnam.
High technology is a domain where German enterprises and researchers have shown a lot of expertise. How do you rate the potential for cooperation between Vietnam and Germany in these high-tech-based sectors?
Well, I can give you two examples. We have, for instance, Siemens, which has just now opened a hub of engineers here for the whole of Southeast Asia region in Vietnam, down in Ho Chi Minh City. And these Vietnamese engineers who are very well trained, who will be even better trained because Siemens is investing a lot in training, will then be sent to the big building sites of Siemens all over Southeast Asia. This is something which has just started. We started it, I think, in September. But it is growing fairly rapidly, and they are talking about quite a few hundred Vietnamese engineers. And that is one example. Another example is ThyssenKrupp. They also have a hub here in Vietnam. So what we are doing also together with German private companies, and we also hope to win some Vietnamese companies, because that's what really matters, is our vocational training project. You know, the Germans have a very old and but very modern in a way system of dual vocational training. That is a public-private partnership, basically. We work together with the Ministry of Labor and together also with these vocational training centers, but at the same time it is very necessary that they have the access to German companies, and we visited together with Minister Gabriel the Bosch Vocational Training Center down in Binh Duong. Very, very impressive. The young people learn from scratch, first to become an industrial mechanic, and then later a mechatronic, i.e. a highly specialized expert in trained for working for the needs of these companies.
So what are the governments of both countries are doing to foster more investments between the two countries?
Well, you know, investment, of course, in Germany is a matter of private companies, first of all. But what is very important is that the investment climate in Vietnam is still that it improves all the time, i.e. that you have a very reliable law system, for instance, the rule of law, transparent public administration is a very important thing, not so much bureaucracy. And I think the Vietnamese government, and that is what Minister Vinh has told us in his bilateral talk with Minister Gabriel, that the Vietnamese government is working in this direction, and I think they have already made quite a good progress in many things in order to shorten the period, for instance, from handing in an application to actually getting a license to do business in Vietnam. If companies are interested, what we have here is of course our Chamber of Commerce, the AHK, which is an enormously important instrument to bring business to Vietnam. That is really, they are giving specific advice to specific companies, what they have to expect here, what to bear in mind if you negotiate a contract with a Vietnamese a company, a partner company, what the regulations are, what kind of arbitration, if there is a problem, is open. So this system of Chamber of Commerce is a very specific German instrument as well to help especially small and medium-sized companies to find their way through, let's say, the investment environment in Vietnam. And that is partially funded by membership fees, but partially also by the government. So this is very important. And the other thing we do have is the German Trade and Invest. That is kind of, we have here one journalist, and he writes about the different sectors of the Vietnamese economy, like what are the perspectives of the cement industry, for instance. Yeah, so very important for investors who want to invest in the construction sector. Yeah, so this is what we are doing. And then last but not least, also, of course, the embassy here in Hanoi, as well as the Consulate General in Ho Chi Minh City. We are always open for questions from companies. We are regularly receiving companies here and telling them what to expect and what not to expect in Vietnam.
For several years, Germany has been Vietnam's biggest trade partner in the European Union. Two-way trade turnover reached $7.7 billion in 2013, up 18% year-on-year. As of October 2014, German investors had 239 projects running in Vietnam, worth $1.33 billion. Germany is the fourth largest European investor in the country. During the official visit of Vietnamese Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng to Germany in October 2014, Chancellor Angela Merkel said that Germany highly valued its relations with Vietnam, praising Vietnam's dynamic economy, its ever higher global status, and its role in shaping the ASEAN community. The two leaders also pledged to ensure the best conditions for investors to do business in each other's countries, thereby fully exploring the strengths and potential that both nations have to offer.
How about some of the obstacles facing German enterprises here in the countries?
Well, you know, it is always, if you go into a different cultural surrounding, you have to first of all adjust and you have to find your way around. In a sense, you also have a big state-owned sector, state-owned enterprises, and you have to deal with them as well and see, you know. So, but I think the most important thing is that decisions are taken fast and in a transparent manner. That has in the past not always been the case. And Minister Win, as well as the Prime Minister and also Minister Huang, they have assured Minister Gabriel that Vietnam is on its way to shorten these kind of procedures, to cut them short, and so that, for instance, you have a one-stop shop, or that you don't, that you have a certain time in which you have to have your license. Otherwise, if nobody has said anything, then it's agreed, something like this. Yeah, so these are things apparently the government is working at, and I can only hope that it will work out well.
Vietnam is currently negotiating the free trade agreement with the European Union, which Germany is an active member. So could you please tell us more about the opportunities that would bring forward when the EV FTA is signed?
Well, I think the FTA in combination with the Asian internal market is going to boost trade between not only Germany and Vietnam, but also the EU and the whole of Southeast Asia, because we have just concluded and it's entered into force already a free trade agreement EU-South Korea. And trade has already, between Germany and South Korea has increased by 10%. So the potential is there. It is all about also of branches of our economy which are not yet really fully on this market here, like automobiles and other things. That is something which is going to boost trade, and this is good for everybody, because trade brings wealth and free trade brings more wealth. So I think that is going to be a very, very good and positive development. We have to get it finished. I know that when Prime Minister Sung was in Brussels in October, they signed a kind of MOU or letter of intent that they want to finish it as soon as possible in the next year. We will see. It is, of course, a lot of political will behind this, but with a free trade agreement, and this is why one has to negotiate carefully, and then is also the implementation. Because if you sign an agreement like that, it is not only we have signed an agreement and now we forget about it, but it's the implementation. And for that, Vietnam needs to become more competitive, because it's going to open the market to competitors which are not here yet. And it's going to be a big challenge for Vietnam. And I think with its commitment to vocational training, to better education and all these things, Vietnam knows about this and is preparing for it.
Overall, how do you assess the long-term prospects of doing business here in Vietnam from the German point of view?
Well, as I talked to many German companies during the year, and this year is coming to an end very fast now. It was apparently a very good year for doing business here in Vietnam. The growth rates, the German companies I spoke to are very optimistic. They are very satisfied with this year's results. And they say they are very optimistic for the future as well, because somehow the economic development, the growth rate is increasing at the moment here in Vietnam. The government has tackled some of the big problems like inflation 2011 and so on. So they are very confident that they will stay here in Vietnam and then also increase their investment here. They want, most of them, the big ones especially, have said they want to enlarge and they want to grow within Vietnam, which is good for jobs and for everybody.
Thank you very much for taking your time for this interview.
It's been my pleasure, and I wish you all the best, and especially also for the end of the year and next year.
Thank you.
All the best. Thank you very much.
Attracting more investment from Germany is one of the solutions to speed up industrialization and modernizations in Vietnam, considering Germany's strengths in manufacturing, finance, management, as well as high technologies and green growth. And for Germany's part, Vietnam is gaining in importance as a gateway to doing business in Southeast Asia. The potential for future investment between both partners are indeed looking positive, as evident in the talk with the German ambassador to Vietnam. And that's all for Bizline this week. Thank you very much for being with us. Remember that you can always rewatch our programs on vtv4.vn or youtube.com/vtv4go. Goodbye and see you next time.